Well, Tom and Lauren contacted my office about a week ago, and they had reached out to me because it looks like Tom's going to get forced into retirement a little bit earlier than what he had planned on. They still have two kids in college. Originally, probably about 4 years away from when they wanted to go ahead and retire, what their original goal was. His company let him know that his position was being eliminated, and he had a lot of questions like, can I retire now? Should I start collecting Social Security? What's the best way to fund some of my retirement goals? If he started Social Security at the age of 62, he would get about $2,500 a month. And then Sarah plans on to continue to work for a couple of years longer. Uh, Again, Lauren plans on continue to work. So if you just got handed a severance package and you were told maybe that your position is going to be eliminated and it didn't exist anymore, maybe retirement's 3, 4, 5 years off um, before you first wanted to stop going in and getting that paycheck. What happens in the next 90 days can be extremely important to making sure that you're optimizing what you've spent a lifetime to build and accumulate. So I'm Nolan Baker. I've been helping people plan for retirement for the past 30 years here at America's Retirement Headquarters. I'm also a veteran from the Marine Corps. And I've sat across the table numerous times with folks that are put into this situation and kind of figuring out what should I do with my exit plan. This is something that I didn't think I was going to have to deal with for a couple of years. I wanted to kind of wait until this happens, but now you're in this situation, and it's something maybe that you never prepared for. Again, you had that date. Maybe it was 2028. Maybe it was 2030. You'd run the numbers. Those numbers look good, but now you're forced into a situation to try to figure it all out now. You've got to figure out decisions like Social Security. You might have to figure out situations like your health care, and you have to figure out if your job ends early, how are you going to fund those goals? So it's all of those things that get thrown at you at once. And what you want to do is figure out, what your income gaps are. Again, what you're not drawing from your paycheck, but also maybe not old enough to draw Social Security. Maybe you could, but should you draw your Social Security benefits and fill in that gap? Do you take the money to fund the gap from your 401k, your IRA, your other investment choices? Or do you just need to go out and look for another job and go back out in the workforce? And again, a lot of these decisions are going to fall within this 30 to 90 day window where you're going to want to need to make some decisions. And a lot of those decisions that you make can be irreversible decisions kind of once you sign on the dotted line. And that's the situation that we're going to be talking about today, kind of walking you through how to make those decisions, what happens when those decisions get made without having a proper plan in place. And, one of the common things that I would see people doing is starting to just simply cash out their 401k. They might start cashing out their IRA to cover the gaps. But a word of caution there is if you're under the age 59 and a half, depending upon where you take that money from, it could trigger additional tax penalties on withdrawals on top of the taxes that you already withdraw. Second is you have the issue of health insurance. With health insurance, you could have the option to start getting COBRA, but oftentimes it's very expensive. You could look at getting coverage through the Affordable Care Act, going on the marketplace. But if you've never had to navigate the marketplace, you need to understand that depending upon how your income level is going to determine, what your premiums are going to be. And third, Social Security. And to me, I think this is also a pretty big one. Like in our situation that we were talking about a minute ago, with Tom and Lauren, Tom has the ability that he is 62. He could start taking Social Security now. But when you run the numbers, is that really the best approach? It's a simple approach, because again, it's going to provide income now to help fund some of the gap. But again, may not be the best approach to take overall. You've got to run that analysis. And unfortunately, what sometimes people do is panic a little bit and they just go ahead and claim Social Security at 62 because the paycheck stopped, and they're okay with getting some money now. But that smaller benefit can be a big impact. And we're going to show you in their situation what that impact was, or could be over the course of their lifetime as well. So they really, they're all something that's different. They may be something that puts you a little bit of in a panic mode, but let me walk you through the actual sequence that you want to take if you're facing that early exit of your retirement. First of all, what you want to do is step number one is figure out how to build the bridge and don't destroy the fortress. And what I mean by that is, again, before you start going in and cashing in your investment accounts like your 401k or your IRA, you want to kind of put some timelines together. So one of the timelines would be knowing when you don't pay penalties, as an example, if you take money out of a retirement account. In many situations, if it's a 401k, it could be at the age of 55. If it's a traditional retirement account, it could be age 59 and a half. You would want to take a look at things like when you're eligible for Social Security. Again, that can range anywhere from the age 62 to age 70. Then you want to take a look at, at what point you become eligible for Medicare at the age 65, kind of plotting those gaps out. You, like in Tom and Lauren's situation, might want to think about any other big expenses that you have coming up. Again, in their situation with having two kids that are still in college, they might have some dollars that they want to continue to allocate to help getting them through those college years for the next year or two until they finish up as well. So putting those numbers on paper and knowing what your monthly expenses are allows you to kind of start to build that bridge. It allows you to kind of map out, and what you'd want to do is you want to create kind of that financial inventory and figure out what is the best way to build the bridge that's the least damaging source. Is it, getting that severance package if there's one that's offered? Do you take money from your cash reserves first? What specific retirement accounts don't carry early withdrawal penalties? How are those withdrawals going to impact if you do get health insurance on the affordable health care? In Tom's situation, when we ran a Social Security optimization report, what it said is that what could be his best approach, assuming him and Lauren live until the age 85, is collecting Social Security later in life. In fact, it said that the optimal time frame would be collecting Social Security at the age of 70. The good news in their situation is that Lauren's still working. So the advantage is they can, switch over their health insurance over into Lauren's plan. That kind of helps solve that health insurance concern that they have. She also continues to work and plans to continue to work for several more years. So covering some of the gap of what they need would be income. And at the end of the day, what they really need to do is just supplement a little bit of the income from what he was earning. And by doing this, it means that they don't have to necessarily, panic too much and draw down major investment assets or 401k. And they don't have to get into taking a lifetime penalty of reduction of benefits by collecting Social Security early. So step number two is you want to look at solving the healthcare issue before you default to one. Before you just jump on COBRA and sign all of the paperwork, which can be kind of expensive. You kind of want to compare your options versus the healthcare marketplace. So again, affordable healthcare. And when you do this, you probably want to work with somebody if you haven't navigated that landscape before. We have the team here at America's Medicare Associates that can help you, because what you want to do is you want to use your actual post-job income numbers, not your old salary. This is an area where you got to think about what is countable income and what is not countable income. So like in Tom's situation, had he just turned on his Social Security benefits, that would be considered countable income. But if Tom lived off of, let's say, his savings that he had for a couple of months, that would not be considered countable income. So if you're going to get health insurance, especially on affordable health care, you've got to know where that sweet spot is that you want to have countable versus uncountable income. And that could be anywhere from, $40,000 to $70,000, depending upon being single, you're married, depending upon what state that you're in. So figuring out that healthcare situation and coordinating it with your investments is a very important thing. Again, our team here at America's Medicare Associates can kind of help you navigate and figure out, what those insurance needs look like. You want to take into consideration maybe any insurances that would be lost. It would be common for somebody to have group term life insurance. A lot of the times, group term life insurance will end when somebody's employment ends. In Tom and Lauren's situation, as I mentioned, they still have 2 kids in college. If they had a mortgage or they had other debt, they might want to consider getting some insurance that they could use to purchase to cover the gap for the next 5 or 10 years as well. So again, paying attention to what coverages you have, what coverages you lose, knowing the difference between the health insurance plan that you had before and what the new health insurance plan is. Again, I'll give you an example on that. My youngest son plays college hockey in Florida, and when we were on the affordable healthcare plan, that first year that he moved to college, he was considered out of network down there. So if something happened during hockey season or whatever the reason, he had to go to a hospital, our premium payments could have been a lot higher because of being considered out of network for what our co-pays and deductibles would have been. Knowing that's the case, knowing that he's going to be down in Florida, we have switched our health insurance plan to something that does provide it down there in network. So again, you kind of want to compare the differences in the plans if you're switching to your spouse's plan or if you're going on affordable health care, knowing what those numbers are. Step number 3 is, again, before you just turn on Social Security, have somebody run the numbers and know the math. There's a lot of great calculators that are out there that allow you to take your real numbers from Social Security. If you haven't got your Social Security statement, you can set up an account at the Social Security Administration website. It's ssa.gov. Download your information on what your Social Security estimates are and get your spouse's as well. Then what you can do is kind of run that optimization report through one of the calculators. If you need help running that Social Security optimization report, you can go over to our website. It's arhq.com. Just let us know, and within 10 minutes, we can get your Social Security optimization report. Looking back at Tom's situation, again, he was better off when we ran the analysis to draw off of his investment assets in the early years if he needed to bridge a little bit of the gap of being forced to retire early than collecting Social Security. It could provide a lot more of a big benefit for him. And so step number 4 is to kind of coordinate all of this together. Don't make these decisions in isolation. One of the things that I mentioned is not raiding the fortress, meaning that taking money out of an IRA, it's going to be a taxable impact. So you want to make sure that you're coordinating what the tax impact of those decisions are with a CPA or accountant. I talked about the decisions of starting Social Security or taking money out of a 401k or an IRA could impact the taxes and the amount that you pay on health insurance. So working with a healthcare professional to figure out those. And, the mind shift of I'm just going to grow my investment assets for the next 3, 4, or 5 years could be a time to reassess the allocation of your retirement dollars. Maybe a time to develop a bucketing type of an approach. Think about the amount of money that you're going to need for the next 1, 2, or 3 years, or whatever that bridge gap is going to be. Consider repositioning some of that money to things that are not necessarily at risk. That way, if there is a major downturn in the market right away after retirement, you're not forced into a situation where you're, selling assets in the down market as well. So again, you've got to coordinate all of these things together. And that's exactly why we built America's Retirement Headquarters. It's one location to have your entire retirement kind of coordinated together with our health insurance team. We look at it from taxes, estate planning, asset protection, and money management. Have all of those key decision makers at the table so you can get all of your questions answered, having that coordination plan. And, you might be thinking that, I've been building this up and I'm just going to, again, start pulling money out of my 401k and fund the needs that I have right now. I would say you could do that. But again, the decisions that you make now are going to impact you in the later in life, oftentimes called the slow go or no go years. So it can impact some of those decisions later in life by what those decisions are that you make now. Think about the fact that, 1 degree difference one way or another uh, over the course of the long term can have a pretty big impact. So you want to look at your specific numbers, maybe not do necessarily what the other person did that you talked to from work, maybe not necessarily what the advice is you got from your neighbor. You want to look at your specific numbers. You want to know uh, what that financial inventory looks like. You want to create that timeline from where you're at today till avoiding penalties on retirement accounts to when you can start taking Social Security to when might be the best time to take Social Security, how you're going to fund those healthcare decisions and map that out. And that's going to allow you to then build that bridge once you know what your expenses look like. Um, if you're wondering about kind of coordinating all of those things, you're wondering about, again, how do I put all of these pieces together, and you find yourself in that situation, again, I would say take a deep breath. There are going to be a lot of important decisions that you need to make over the next 30 to 90 days. But if you need somebody to talk to, you want a little coaching and advice to get to it, again, go over to our website. It's arhq.com. Click on that retirement team action plan, and we'll help get you a game plan put together.